Hello, and welcome to Roseplay Presents episode 47, the Dealing with Anxiety and Negativity podcast, or DWAAN for short. As always, I'm your host, Aurian MoonRose, and here on Roseplay Presents, we do a multitude of just about anything, ranging from events like E3, Comic-Con, game-related type stuff, interviews with content creators, game developers, closed betas, podcasts, just about anything that I couldn't throw into actual Rose Play or that me and Saul could not throw into Fire Moon Rose Play. One of these are the DWAAN Podcasts. This was not me who originally did this, it was Amateur Gamer, which is another YouTuber who does do some gaming and also does these. Him and me he does a lot on his own, but he and me collaborated together for quite a few podcasts dealing with serious topics involving, as I put it, anxiety and negativity. This is actually his podcast, though I think sometimes he says it's all of ours because we were supposed to have more people, and some do get thrown in. But I still say he's the creative mind behind this. We've already shared it on his channel, and we would like to share it on multiple channels, here being another one. So for your entertainment, well, maybe not entertainment, but at least for your consideration of listening to and hopefully enjoying or hoping that it helps, I give you the first DWAAN broadcast number 1. So sit back and relax because this podcast has got about an hour. We started off really long at the beginning. Anyway, here is DWAAN Podcast number 1.
Hi everyone, this is Amateur Gamer, and welcome to the Dealing with Anxiety and Negativity podcast. This will be our first episode for this podcast, and as the title suggests, we'll be talking about pretty serious topics, anxiety, negativity. We'll have some topics, but overall it'll be pretty wide open, and then we'll see what it branches off because a lot of the topics are interrelated. And joining with me is Aurian MoonRose. Now, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, sure, I'll go ahead and do that. So, as he mentioned, I'm Aurian MoonRose, so not much of an introduction from my end. I am from another channel, of course. My channel's Roseplay, so that's where I'm from. And as Amateur so kindly put it, we're basically here to talk about pretty much serious topics. We might get a little light lifting or a little comical here and there just because we don't want the whole thing to be a complete downer, and we want you guys to leave here with a at least a chipper idea, but how to deal with stuff too. So that's basically it. He'll be able to explain it a little bit more here in a second once I finish, but it's going to be just more than him and me from time to time. Right now it's just us two because, well, schedule conflictions. But anyway, I'll go ahead and bring it over to him to start with so he can explain this a little bit more, being episode 1.
Okay, so it's like I said, we'll basically have some open-ended topics. We'll just talk about it, and I just want to make sure it's clear that we're not experts, so don't take our words as the proper advice from experts. There are experts out there. We're just here. We mostly share our views because we went through different lives. I mean, as we go through the podcast, you'll probably hear, our different stories. We actually have pretty different backgrounds, and just let's just say there's a lot of perspectives. And if you're watching this and you want to join in, just join in the chat. Hopefully, when one of us is talking, someone else will be able to chat in there and then trying to welcome you. And like Aurian said, there's other members in the team, but right now it's just me. And this being the first podcast, will probably be fiddling with different things, so I apologize if quite like aren't perfected. Probably need a few episodes.
And I'd also like to add, too, that if someone does start chatting in the podcast, we will definitely try to answer your questions and scenarios as best as possible, as he put it, because we're not professionals, but how we might deal with it or how we did deal with it if we did.
So first off, guess we need a topic, don't we, Aurian?
That is always a very helpful start. Otherwise, we just mindlessly banter for however long this first podcast would go on.
Yes, and I think a good start will be something that's really well. This topic will be related to what's happening today. And before we go for it, Aurian, I think you're playing our chat in the background, right? Stream?
Sort of. It's on, but it's kind of muted, so it didn't bleed through.
Why am I hearing echoes?
Um, that is a good question. It could be through your end. Let me raise the volume up a second and see what I'm hearing. All right, so I don't hear any echoes through it. If I do, it's small little whispers that are barely noticeable because I put it up to 100 volume, but I do not know why you're hearing it. I would assume it's probably either through your end or echo feedback through my end that you're hearing. But I would assume from what I heard on the podcast, you're the only one hearing it.
Okay, good. I'm going crazy. That's great. That's a
It's
great
all right.
start to the podcast.
Yeah, we're all crazy, and that's really cool.
Yes. So continue on this. So our topic today, we probably won't finish it. Like these are big topics. We won't cover it in a single session. And it's actually related to one of our members. She's having some issues at work and she's getting stressed and feeling depressed. Now I won't go into details. If she wants to share it, like when she comes on, we'll let her. But you know, without getting her permission, we're not gonna go into details. Let's just say that because of work, she's feeling stressed and depressed, and and I guess considering the title and the objective, maybe it's a good idea to first discuss how we cope with these kind of situations where we're kind of depressed. How will you do it, Aurian?
Well, we'll go ahead, and since we're sticking on topic of someone dealing with work, I think we should focus on the work aspect first. And how I dealt with work wasn't very good, honestly. It's hard, or at least for me it was. It was very hard to deal with the stress at work, especially when I did have it sometimes stress at home. But we'll, like I said, focus on work for my end. And, you try to deal with the stress as it hits you. Sometimes you get too much put on your plate, you get told to do something that you can't complete in time, or they move you to another task, and then they still yell at you for not completing the other task, either by the same person or someone different. For me, I personally couldn't handle the stress that well. I mean, to be fair, where I worked, and I won't disclose where, that's private between the business and me. I don't want to get them in trouble or get myself in trouble for it. But they did not have good management whatsoever. I mean, the place itself was amazing. The customers were not too bad. Of course, you did have your usual bad seeds for customers, but for the most part, like I was stating, the you getting told to do something and then get moved to another task and then another, and then you've got 7 tasks and you haven't completed any of them, and then you get yelled at for no reason. I mean, it's hard to not be stressed about something like that. Just the beauty of being told this and that and not getting it done, even when you get home, even if you're not having stress at home, now you're sitting there and you're thinking about it. You're like, why? Why did that have to happen today? And is it going to affect me tomorrow? And then you go in and it either does or it doesn't, or it continues to do the same. It's hard, in my opinion, to not be stressed about work. So for me, at least as much as I could try before I finally couldn't take it and quit job altogether and do what I do now, the way I tried to deal with it was gaming. gaming and ignoring it. I know ignoring is not a good way to deal with it, but for me, if I can distract myself long enough, the situation passes or my mind forgets about it, and then I'm completely fine. But as people told Barry Allen, who's the Flash for anybody that's a DC fan, they always told Barry, run, Barry, run. For me, it was game, Aurian, game. And that's how I tried to deal with my stress outside of work as best that I could. Even though when I would get back to work, it would be double, triple the amount because I knew what might be coming.
Okay, that's great. And Aurian brought up some great points, and I want to emphasize some of them. Like for me, I'm 25. I've done a lot of minimum wage jobs. I've done warehouse, retail, fast food, basically all of those. And and he's right. Sometimes you might have no stress at all at home, but the thing about work is sometimes if you just have a bad day, sort of bring it home. Like bad days, sorry, bad days don't just you know s- stay at work and then you go home and it's gone. It stays with you, and that's negativity. It doesn't go away that easily. If anything, it takes a long time to go away. And the other thing about negativity is it spreads. Like like let's not even say a let's not even say your boss was having a bad time. Let's say one of your coworkers was having a bad day and they decide to take it out on you. How well do you think you'll feel? You'll probably feel terrible as well. And that's definitely one of the things you'll face. And I find for a lot of people, it doesn't help that they don't like the work they're at. Like, I hated when I worked at my last fast food restaurant. Management was terrible. I was overworked, underpaid, and we were always short staffed. Like, people were coming and leaving at a ridiculous. Like, every 2 weeks, I'm not even kidding, every 2 weeks, someone's leaving and someone new was coming. So, how I cope with it, at first, I like Aurian, do gaming, but later I started doing videos. I find that talking about these issues really help because when you keep it all inside, it just starts build up, and then you start. It's kind of like you have a container and you fill something in. If you add more, eventually the container is gonna burst. And you, being a vessel of this negativity, if you have enough of it, it's gonna make you. So that's basically how I see it, and I find the best way is talk about it. Though it's not always easy, I know. So Arian, have you tried talking about it with your family, or you just mostly keep it to yourself?
Well, that gets to be an interesting story too. And first, I'd like to emphasize a little bit since we do want to have a back and forth conversation too. First of all, wow, you've actually had a lot of jobs during your tenure up to the year of 25. And then I do also agree with you on your topics of the fact that nobody really likes work and management and um, what was it? And the fact that people wouldn't show up. I had a job like that too, where I would work double, triple shifts because people would not show up for their job. People would call in, I would show up and work for them every time. Um, and then, what was it? And then when I would try to call in, which I barely ever called in, like once or twice throughout most of my work history, nobody would ever come in for me. So I ended up having to come in every time. And that was another thing I disliked about work. But anyway, back to your question at hand about if I talk to people. Well, I'm pretty much a lone wolf, so I tended to always do things myself or didn't have many friends. Now, don't get me wrong, I could have friends. It's just I had a very strong opinion of what I wanted in a friend or traits and personality. So if I called you friend, there was a very good reason behind it and that I trusted your personality or the way you could handle things or something to that effect. Now, I tried to release my stress by talking to my family about some of the stuff that would go on in the work environment or my stress days. The only problem is that the last job that finally made me quit completely and go into content creating was pretty much the worst job. Like, I would literally come home every day and I would try to talk about it, but I would get so stressful about it, or I would start not yelling at them, but just yelling about how stupid the stuff was. And it really put them down. And that's another thing Amateur is correct on, is that negativity spreads. I have a good friend over at VidMe. Um, he does a show called Rebel Edge Entertainment, and he basically put that negativity spreads, and he wants to put more positivity into content creating due to the fact that right now a lot of people are trying to be negative. And it really hurt everybody over here when I constantly came home. At some point it was just shut up about it. We don't want to hear it. We know it's bad. If you don't like it, then quit. And I finally did. Otherwise, I do somewhat talked about it with friends. My co-host, I talked to them a lot about my problems and my stress, because I really, really do confide in them, and they're physical. Like Amateur, our other co-hosts, and a few other people, it's nice to talk to them about it. It really is. And I have no problem doing that. In fact, I could talk to them all day, all night. But it is still nice to have that physical one person here. But otherwise, I really don't keep too many physical friends anymore, just due to the fact that I'm usually don't like leaving the house. I do, but I just don't like to.
So yeah, I'm actually a loner myself as well. I don't have many friends. And part of it was because I was really shy actually for most of my years. I mean, at school I was that kid who sits in the corner. I might have one or two friends, but really overall I had no one. And and sadly that's one of the things I have regret on, but the thing about pondering about the past is if you keep focusing on it, you just forget about the future. And what has changed my life dramatically, I must say, was last summer when I did a month of sale to sale, door to door sales, sorry, door to door sales. And it's definitely not for everyone, but it was definitely life changing because I mean, at the time, I was a shy person who could barely talk to strangers, and here I was knocking on doors of complete strangers and basically, trying to get them to do something. I'm not gonna go into details. I just want, I just don't want to involve the company or give you they are. But basically, that changed my life. Like right now, I'm more outgoing. Like a lot of the times, I don't want to do it probably because I'm used to being a loner, keeping things to myself, and and YouTube is probably the closest thing I have to where I'm just communicating to complete strangers. I mean, I'm putting out videos that could be seen by people around the world. Like I don't even have control over who or not, and and I will partly credit this door-to-door sales on that because it probably gave me the courage finally take the first step. And so here I am at a podcast. And the thing is, if I haven't been doing YouTube, I wouldn't have meet like Aurian. So, so for a lot of people, even if people say get out more, don't stay indoors, you can still make friends online. It's just that you still have to be careful who you because there's random people, but if you're careful and you keep looking, you'll find great people who are willing to be your friend and you might find something in common. And as for whether I talk to my own family, it's kind of difficult because my parents had me pretty late. They had me like mid 30s or like late 30s around that time. So so the thing I see is that there's a pretty big generational gap and plus they were raised back in China and I was raised in Canada. So there's also the difference in views. So communicating with them is always tough because I find that the way they see things different from how I was, raised here. Because I mean, yes, I was I was being raised by my parents, but I also went to school here in Canada. I came here since I was 5, so I was basically grew up here. I'm Canadian citizen. So yeah, I was basically raised a Canadian. So it's sometimes it's really hard. You have these barriers between, your your parents because they're raised in a completely different background and how they view things. Now they have some good advice, and hopefully in later podcasts or even this one, I can share some. But for now, yeah, that's it for this question. I mean, me and Aurian both try to communicate with family, but it's not always the easiest because the main issue is, like he said, and like I said, negativity spread, and when you share with your family, when you see them sad, it kind of makes you kind of decide maybe I don't want to do this because I mean it's your family. You don't want to hurt them. You don't want them to feel bad, right? So sometimes you feel you have the burden to carry it all on your own, and unfortunately a lot of people do that, and some of them go into severe depression because they suddenly find no one to talk to, and that's just a horrible feeling. I mean, even nowadays, I find that a lot of people don't want to talk about depression, anxiety, negativity, because it's one of those topics like people need to talk about, but people don't want to talk about. I mean, when people have a great day, they feel awesome, like nothing could go wrong. They'll probably share it with the world, but the moment they have a horrible day and then suddenly feel depressed and feels like, the world is ending, they usually keep it to themselves and they don't want to share it because I don't know, maybe they feel embarrassed. Like at the time when I feel depressed, I just feel like I have no one to turn to. I feel I well, I felt I have like nobody who could understand me, and and I was also afraid of getting hurt. Like, what if I talk to someone and they make fun of me? That will only worsen, my feelings, and just worsen my mood, and it might not improve. So that's why when I was mostly a loner, even though I had a few friends, I wouldn't talk about these with them. So, so Arian, when you were, let's say, severe anxiety, I'm not sure if you ever was really depressed, but if you were, like how did you normally do it? Did you just kept it in yourself and then just like earlier you say you normally ignore it and game, but like what's going through your mind when you're at that lowest point in life where it seems like you're in a tunnel with no light, and then there's no light down the tunnel on either side, and you just start wondering if you made mistakes in.
Well, I first I'll come back to what you said a little bit about generational gap, and I think that's true with anybody. With each passing generation, it's different from one person to another. Like we're never the same that our parents were, and our kids will never be the same that we were. There's always different. Um, there's always going to be differences in gaps. And most people, as they get older, they don't understand why their kids are, not able to do it correctly. And that's something that we need understanding as we continue to get old, that things are going to change and we need to try to adapt to try to help our kids. But that's my personal opinion on that. I also am very impressed about the door to door salesman thing. That is really neat. And then how, yeah, whether or not I've really ever fully been depressed, it is a completely optional story. I mean, I personally believe I am. I mean, hence a full reason why I am the way I am. But when I get to those points where the depression starts hitting me. Yeah, I do game, and stuff is still running through my head, but I usually just knock it out with a hammer while I'm gaming, or I chat with somebody or something. But the thoughts that usually just run through my head is just that I messed up. I could have done it better. I could have done this, could have done that. And not just that, but every choice that's made is just wrong and that I'm wrong. And I don't think that's more to do with just me in general. I think that's just how everybody deals with it in a sense, is everybody is always going to say they did something wrong, that they should have done it this way. What really depresses people the most, I think, is when they dwell on it more than anything. Like like you had said, amateur, there was the whole fact that you were afraid that people would laugh at you or not understand you. And that's the thing. Our society has grown, sometimes not in a good way, where there is a lot of bullying. There is a lot of cyberbullying. I know they're trying to cut back on it now with these campaigns that they're doing, at least here in the States. I don't know if it's everywhere, but I know here we're like really cracking down on bullying. But I mean, that is the problem, is that we think that someone's going to make fun of us or not understand us. And it's a really sad method, because you're right, we need to be able to talk to one another. If we can't talk to one another and express ourselves, even if the person doesn't understand, if they're just sitting there listening to us, or even if they make cracks about it in a good way, it's their way of trying to help us. And I think some people say the internet is bad, and yeah, it can be. Anything can be bad. Moderations of anything can be too bad. What was it that did it? I forget the name of the show, but it's Adam Ruins Everything. I think it's an internet-based show and something else. He used to be on College Humor. He was stating that people think that the internet is god awful and that it's ruining our socializing skills. But he also then stated that within the lifetime, people thought that way with books, that books was ruining our.
Are you, Aurian? Not hearing you. My mic. Sorry, everyone. I think we might have a slight technical difficulty. So while we get this solved, I'm just trying to take over while he's trying to fix it. So yeah, he was talking about how some people think internet is a bad thing. I just feel it's just a change. Like in our lives, there are lots of things we cannot change, and that's not always a bad thing. We just have to learn to adapt to it. Like those who don't adapt to change usually find them falling behind. And I'm not sure about you, but when I fall behind in something, let's say in school, I'm currently going to university, and if I feel like I'm behind the other students, I feel like I'm a failure, and that's a pretty bad feeling, honestly. And the thing about feeling like a failure is you start thinking about these negative thoughts, and negative thoughts not only spread easily, but they also grow quickly inside of you. Like I I find negativity to be like weed. Like the minute they take root, they just take over everything and there's no control. And you might hear some keyboard. I'm just trying to communicate with Aurian, hoping to get his mic to work. And and as I was saying, like feeling like a failure really drags you down. And I have failed courses in university, sadly, and I feel those are part of growth, because the the thing about me failing classes is there were a lot of things that were actually happening at the time. Like I was dealing with quite a few issues. First of all, I went to college, took 2 years of a course there, and then couldn't get a job in that field. And trust me, that was really depressing. basically unable to get a job for something I worked hard for. Like that was 2 years of school I worked hard for. And the fact that, all that time, all that money, like school isn't cheap here. I use student loans, so right now I have a lot of student debt as a result. And for a moment there, I thought I heard him. But as I say, as you know, after putting on the time, effort, and money into it, and you don't get return, very discouraging. Kind of makes you wonder, like, am I a failure? Am I destined to fail? Is success just something I cannot reach? And it's one of those terrible feelings that you feel because you give everything and nothing's going your way. You start to wonder what you did wrong. You start looking in the past, start thinking about what ifs. What if I did this? What if I did that? What if I didn't do this? What if I didn't do that? All of those things that go through your mind just not healthy because we humans can only tolerate so much. Like I know we're all different, but there's a limit to how much negativity we can take before we're really bitter. We hate our lives. We hate everything around us. And to be honest, I just can't imagine a life where I'm hating everything. And sadly for some people, with the way their lives are going, it doesn't help one bit. And I'm pretty sure Aurian is trying hard to fix his mic. Fortunately, we don't have the best tools, but this is one of the issues we're having. We hope to eventually resolve this. Even our picture as seen here is not the best, but we'll work towards it. This is our first podcast. We're just testing the waters, and like I said, none of us are none of us are professionals. So definitely there's a learning curve. I'm not sure about the rest of
Can you
you.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so apparently I figured out what the problem was. For some reason, the mic just completely died on me. I don't know why, so now I'm talking out of the Connect if I sound any more quieter. And for whatever reason, it was muting you too, and it happened after the controller accidentally turned off.
Okay. So you want to continue or?
Yeah, if you want to continue, we can.
No, it's okay. You sort of threw off my train of thoughts. I forgot where I left off. So you go ahead.
All right, so I kind of also missed out on some of the topics. So what am I answering actually?
Well, well well basically I guess you should continue where you left off. So basically where you were talking about how what do you call it? Internet was ruining
Okay.
socialization, and then you were mentioning books. Left off there.
Right. All right. So yes. So basically, the books the people were saying was a negative thing, and that it was going to be the downfall of mankind because people would be more their nose in the books than anything. And like I said, Adam ruins everything is where this came from that I'm talking about. But it really wasn't. You got book clubs out of it, and that was amazing. But that's what people are now saying about the internet. And granted, the internet is bad. Internet can be corrupted. Anything can, because we can corrupt it. But the amazing thing is that as much as the internet is bad, it is also very, very good. I mean, we're able to converse with people easier. We're able to do chats, and albeit, you shouldn't trust a lot of people on the internet that you don't know. You shouldn't, you know, give away personal information a lot. But there is still also very good people out there that all they want to do is be friendly, be nice, chat with you, and be your friend. And again, even though I mean you can't really trust the internet fully, it is something nice to be able to use to your advantage. Yeah, you should go out. You should enjoy the environment and get out, do stuff with people, like go to a movie, go to the park. But some of us just don't have that time as we wish we could because of jobs. Sometimes I know some people work first into third shift. And because of the fact that they do that, or second into third, their day's usually shot. They can't um, they can't go out and watch a movie or hang with friends because by the time they go to work and come home, it's like 10 o'clock at night, midnight. You don't have time for that. And you don't get as much socializing as you can. So, I mean, that's where the internet can be a good thing. But for the most part, I mean, I completely agree with Amateur on the fact that you've got to watch yourself, but at the same time, if you know your limits, you know how to work with people, then it's not necessarily a bad thing for the internet. You just need to be very, very careful.
And one thing I want to add to this is I know that like on the news and all of that we hear a lot of bad things, but I honestly believe there's more good people than bad people. Yes, it's the bad people who make the news, but you're also finding the good people are decent. You just have to be cautious. Like you don't have to like one thing my parents taught me since a young age is that you shouldn't be actively trying to harm someone, but you shouldn't be too trusting either. Just be cautious. Like just until you know the person well, just you know sort of how do you call it? Just probe, just sort of see if they indeed want to be your friend. I mean, me and Aurian are friends. I know what state he lives in, but I never asked for his address because why would I need his address? I mean, as long as we could chat, we support each other's streams and channels, that's good enough. That's what I mean. Like if you find a friend, why does your friend need to know where you live? I mean, if they know sort of, what state you are because we need to know sort of where we live in because we have time zones and like organizing these require that kind of. But otherwise, we don't need any other information. Like why would I need to know birthday? Why would I need to know his social security or whatever? And that's a big thing. Don't think that there's a lot of bad people. There are bad people, but I honestly believe there are more good people. Otherwise, our society would. I mean, can you imagine having a lot more bad people than good? And that's what I mean. Yes, be cautious. Yes, be kind of suspicious, but don't actively try to label everyone else as dangerous. And also try not to judge people by cover because I've met people who seems kind of shady, but they're great people. Like I met some people who go to the gym often, so they're really buff, but they're great guys. I mean, when I did door-to-door sales, quite a few of them hit the gym often, but they're not guys who pick fights with those weaker than them. I mean, they're great guys. But that also means that if the person looks nice, it don't always think they will be nice, because looks can be deceiving, and I also know that some people use their looks to take advantage of others. So regardless of their looks, try to determine who they are internally. And so so Arian, um, I know you like me mostly a loner, but you have a few friends. Like, how do you determine if they're good friends or not? I'm guessing that you know earlier you said that you don't always like you take time, you don't call everyone a friend, but there must be certain traits that you look in people determine if you want either a friend or not. So how do you
So,
do it?
so how do I do it? Well, first I'll talk a little bit because I love coming back with your topics too a little bit. I'll talk about the whole news thing first, where you said, the news always talks about the bad things, and it really makes people feel really bad in the world. Well, and I learned this in my intro to television class, and plus just other classes that I took. The problem with the news is that bad events sell. It gets people to watch the news. Fire at 10, did everybody live? Fire at, or 2 murders downtown. A store was robbed. I mean, who's going to turn into the news every day if it's, this kitten was saved from a tree? This bush, it grew another limb after 10 years. No one's going to show up to that. So bad news is going to sell, good news isn't, and that's why we always hear about more bad things than good things, which also creates not as much negativity as the fact of life is horrible and everybody's horrible. But as for the friend thing, at this point in my life, I only have one real physical friend. Used to be 2 or 3. Now it's really just one. So yay me. But how do I gauge it? It's the weirdest thing. I mean, when it comes to physical people, I guess, and I know a lot of people may not believe in this or whatnot, but, like, I can sense something. I mean, not like psychic or magical or anything like that. Just I get a feeling from people sometimes, if they're going to be good or bad. And I think that feeling that I get, to explain it scientifically, is the way they act, the way they talk about things. I mean, you can usually judge a person and get a good sense of them just from them talking, if they're a good person or not. And that's something else you brought up, Amateur, about, the buff people who look scary. Yeah, first looks, you're like, oh my god, he's gonna kill me. But if you get to know him, and then you realize, oh, there is tame as a pussycat. There's nothing wrong with them. They're amazing. It's just they look scary. And that's judging a book by its cover, first of all, when people do stuff like that. I mean, I've had people who have said that from the way I talk, the way I act, that I like men. And I mean, I like men as a friend, but no, I'm completely straight. So, I mean, the fact that somebody tells you that this person's likes men or likes women, it's just something they think. They don't know unless they get to know you. But I think that's pretty much how I get to gauge people. And I've noticed, as I've grown in my years, that the people that I like to hang around with does tend to be the people who do have problems, that their life is not perfect. Because when a person has a perfect life, they talk about it constantly, or they try to one-up you, try to make themselves seem better, and try to make you more depressed. Someone who has problems in their life, it's so much easier to get along with, because even if you're not having the same problem as them, you at least know for certain that you've at least experienced something similar, to where at least you know the other person knows what you're doing. And I think that's really what it is we get along with people that are similar to us. We hang out with those cliques. In high school, I know not everybody went and did the same high school, but there was always cliques in high school. The goths, the jocks, the nerds, stuff like that. People stuck together as a group. And I think even to this day, we stick together as a group. And honestly, that's how I think I feel that I usually get along with people. Now, do not get me wrong. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to be friends with somebody who isn't like me. In fact, most of the people that talk to me on my YouTube channel, my Twitch, my Beam, my VidMe, I could go on for a while. I have way too many outlets to post my stuff. I have great conversations with them, and I'm proud to call them a type of family, a rose play family, a movement, as I have it on Twitch. If you join, or not Twitch, if you join my Beam, I have an auto message that says, welcome to the rose play movement. I have no idea what that honestly means, but I just thought it sounded cool. And I think that's what it is that we can get along with just about anybody, but most of the people that likes your content usually kind of has something similar to that effect. And for me, gaming is a big, big plus. Like, that is why I have a gaming channel. That's why most of my topics are gaming. That's why, even when you ask me questions, Amateur, I try to explain it with a gaming, not an acknowledgy, analogy. Analogy? Analogy. That sounds about right. Because gaming is my life. Gaming is my blood. If I can solve something, fix something, say something involved with a game, sometimes a TV show or movie, I'm having a good day. And at the end of the day, people like the people that I do talk to on my channel or in the Discord that we're in, the Damn Lag Discord, I get along with them. And I do like them all. Every single one of them. I mean, I try not to judge. I try not to do anything else like that. But I really do think that a lot of the friends that we make later on is also people that follow in our clique, our group, even if unintentional or not really thought to be.
Yeah, that was definitely great. But one thing you said that kind of jumped out at me because I have thought about this issue before. Like earlier you said that people that normally, befriend you are those people with problems, and then there are those people with perfect lives. And to be honest, I don't think anybody have perfect lives. Like everybody has their own problems. I don't care how much money you have or how fortunate you have. There are gonna be problems. There are gonna be issues where you will have to deal with it. And for instance, if those people are trying to going every way trying to say how much like a certain aspect of their life is better, I think they're trying to compensate. They're trying to cover something up because what's happening is they're trying to maintain this perfect image as though they have the perfect life. I feel that if you have a great life, you won't be actively trying to do kind of things because I mean, if you're trying to tell other people how great your life is, I mean, let's put it this way. When we have, you know, when we have great things happening to us, I mean, yes, we celebrate it. I mean, yes, some people like to brag about it, but if someone's constantly trying to say how much better they are and they constantly trying to put you down, I feel they're really lacking something. And what ends up happening is they're not being true to themselves. Like they're trying to run away from their problems by trying to make you feel bad so they feel better, but in the end it's a lose-lose situation for both people. So the person trying to, maintain this image of a perfect life isn't solving the problem, which isn't gonna go away. And one thing I find in life is most of your problems aren't gonna go away until you deal with it. And by dealing with it, I don't mean, find a quick fix. I mean, go to the root and deal with it. Like, for instance, I was depressed for a while because things were going my way. Like, while Aurian was having a mic difficulty, I was talking about how I went to college, spent time, money, effort to get a diploma, which couldn't land me a job, and then basically I went to university and failed two courses. Basically, things were going downhill very quickly, and those problems aren't gonna go away. So what's the root of my problem? The root of my problem is I feel I have yet to life. I feel like a failure. Until I find success in life, this feeling isn't gonna go away. That's why I'm working hard, trying to make something happen with YouTube and Twitch. Yes, I meet people who says, "Oh, you should only do it as a hobby. You won't succeed." Well, guess what? Don't listen to those people. Listen to your heart. Those people, they won't succeed because they believe they won't succeed. If you want to accomplish something, you gotta believe in yourself first. If you doubt yourself, I mean, nobody else could convince you to go forward. If you convince yourself you can do it, that's all you need. Even if everybody else says you can't do it, you just keep going and you'll make it work. So Arian, in your life, have you ever encountered a situation where someone tells you you can't do it and you still went ahead and do it?
Alright, so, first of all, I'll respond back to the problem you had with the everyone has problems thing. And yeah, no, I agree. I do agree that everyone does have problems, but some of them don't just talk about it. But the problem is that there's those people that are so determined that they don't have a problem that they actually believe they don't have a problem. And because they believe they don't have a problem, they think they are better, and that you're right, they're lacking something, they're missing something. But I know there is people out there who like to make themselves feel better, like you said, and it's a shame that they do that, because we need to have a community not torn apart. Now, also for the mic issue, it's either a mic issue or a software issue via the Xbox software. I'm not sure which, but one of those two. And having a dream, which kind of comes back to what you were asking about not, being told that you can't do something and that you shouldn't be able to do something. So, having a dream, people, is very, very important. And amateurs are right. If somebody tells you that you can't do something, if you don't do it, it is your fault in the sense of not actually going on through with it. But it's theirs for making you think that way. In the end, it is your decision, though. But if you have a dream, follow it. Try it. Worst case scenario is that you do fail. And you're going to fail in life, but you're also going to succeed. But you never know until you try. Now, as for me, the question that was asked, it was pretty much this. Like people thought I was gonna go homeless or something. Like, you can't just quit the job and do this fully. You're not gonna make it. You're not going to. And I mean, I'm pulling it off. I mean, granted, not the best right now sometimes with ever-growing problems, but that happens. You're gonna have roadblocks in your life. But a few people believed in me, and those were the people that I really appreciated at the time. So yeah, no, a lot of people didn't think I'd be able to pull this off. And I mean, granted, it's a lot of hard work. And I do have a Q&A that's on the way that explains a little bit more about this. So I'll only go into this part briefly, is the fact that you are going to have people tell you that you're going to fail all the time. And, they're like, you're never going to make it on YouTube. And they're right. I might not never make it on YouTube. And that's fine. I'm completely fine with that. My main goal was never, ever to become famous on YouTube. Okay, maybe 8 years ago when I did Adama, but that was because I was a kid and a younger time and, whatnot. My main goal nowadays is just to get my content out there. I don't care if it gets a lot of views. I don't care if it gets likes, subscribes. It's awesome if it does. I feel really accomplished. The thing that I care about is that people see it. If at least one person sees my video, if at least one person gets a smile, then I've won. I'm happy about what I'm doing. And because I knew YouTube wasn't going to work it, I'm on 8, 9 different platforms. I don't think personally you can make it as a YouTuber anymore unless you either get really lucky with a viral video, or you are just the next PewDiePie, Markiplier, or somebody who's famous on YouTube right now. You're not gonna do it. Your best bet is to become a content creator. Get your stuff out there. Go everywhere. Like I said, I've got Twitch, Beam, VidMe, YouTube. I ran out of the ideas that I have, but I at least have 2 or 3 other sites, and every year I throw on 2 more. And so, I mean, if I'm succeeding, it's because of a lot of hard work. This dream of mine is not easy, and no dream is easy, is kind of the point that I'm getting at. You need to work hard. You can't just think it's going to be easy. And if you start something thinking that it's going to be utmost easy and you put the least amount of effort into it, you better hope that you do get lucky with a viral video, or you get seen really nicely and it spreads. But I mean, I'm on 8 or 9 different platforms, and my dream's been realized for the most part. I mean, it's ever growing, and since technically it is the income that I need, the bread and the butter, it would be nice for a little bit more to be coming in, but I'm not complaining about it as long as I'm passing by. People are seeing my content, and that's what's important. That's why my dream succeeded, even when people said that it wouldn't.
Hey, thanks. We're actually hitting our 1 hour mark, so I think maybe this place to end off. Maybe maybe the podcast will last longer if we have more members because we want to get everyone's perspective. But here it's just me and Aurian, and as you can see, it's overall pretty chill. We just explain our perspective and just chat about what we see as life. None of this none of this is professional advice. All of this is just our opinion, our experience, our wisdom. I mean, I'm not old enough to be wise, but Arian. Okay, that'll be insulting. Sorry. What I'm trying to get
Well,
at
I'm older
is,
than you, so I'll definitely say I'm older than you. So yeah, I'm a little bit of an old man compared to you.
yep. So basically, we just want a chill atmosphere where we talk about these serious topic. We want it to be, kind of lighthearted. Like we're not here to solve the world problems. We just want to start conversation, get people talking because I feel a lot of people want to discuss it, but they don't know where. And hopefully, with this stream and I'll be posting this on YouTube. Hopefully, if you've seen this and you have a friend who has an issue, have them try to maybe come by our Twitch channel for the next podcast. We don't have a set schedule yet because we just got together. I mean, we basically got this idea like a few days ago, and the fact that we're doing it live right now is already amazing. So basically, I'll be posting this on YouTube, and hopefully, if you want to join us, I mean, just follow me and get the notifications. Unfortunately, on the technical side for Aurian and the other, well, we have 4 members, so 2 of the members, including Aurian, have some technical difficulties. Another member wasn't able to join us, but he has his own Twitch channel. I'm not sure if he's gonna, you know, auto host this or not. I mean, right now this will be done here. But like I said, if you or your friends have certain issues, just spread the word and come join us. We're just here to chat. We're not here as professional. We're not here to judge you. We're just here with 4 different perspective. I mean, honestly, we might even have more people. I don't know how it works. But right now we have 4 members. It's 2 of us now, but hopefully we'll eventually get more people together, and that's really what we're aiming for. Just trying to talk about these issues because I mean, to be honest, in our society, I feel that we don't talk enough about our problems, and I know this is kind of stereotypical, but I find that men generally don't want to talk about their issues. They kind of feel they have the burden, they have to carry these on their own shoulders because like maybe you don't want your family to be negative, or maybe just the community you live in, men just aren't supposed to talk about these issues. They're supposed to suck it up, just get on with it and deal with it. And sadly, that doesn't always work. And we're just hoping to, have a community here. It's, just chill, hang out with people who also have problems. And if you have problems, you're not alone. I mean, Aurian, he has a dream of supporting himself through, making videos, streaming. It's not hard. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of subscribers or followers, but he's making it work because that's his dream. He has obligations. He wants to make it work. He has a determination. He's persevering. That's why he's finding some success. And I really hope he finds more. And and for me it's the same. I mean, I'm starting out. I don't have much subscribers or followers, but I hope that will change as I meet new people and just continue to work. I mean, I know my content aren't the greatest, but constantly improving. I'm learning, and that's the thing about life. It's never the end destination. It's the steady growth you have on your journey, which will, make you the person you want to be. And the key is always look towards the future. Now, before we end the stream, Aurian, do you have anything you want to last words for this podcast? I mean, we'll have more podcasts later on, but there's something you want to, conclude this?
Yeah, there's at least 3 things on my end. First of all, I'm amazed with all you guys that are watching right now. I don't know if you've seen an amateur, but we've at least had 20 people watching total. We're down to 10 right now, but that's still amazing compared to most times. And then I'll take it one step further with amateur. Amateur said to come join our chats and whatnot. Maybe you don't have time to come join. That's fine. You know what else you can do? I at least know me and amateur are going to post these on our channel separately. I'm not quite sure when I'm going to put mine up. I gotta find a right way to put it in, but I'm going to put mine up. His is probably going to be up instantaneously. But if you don't have time to come and join the podcast, answer questions with us, leave them in the comments for either one of our pages, either his or mine. We'll write them down, or I'll have the page up. I'll get amateurs and my page up if it's the same podcast, and we'll answer it. We'll try to talk about it a little bit, or if it's a topic you want to talk about, just go ahead and leave it in the comments below for you YouTubers, VidMeers, or anywhere else I decide to post mine. But yeah, feel free to definitely put it in. And amateur's right, you're not alone in this. There's always going to be people that are going to be depressed or have anxiety or a mixture of them. And it's just people are afraid to talk about it a lot. I'm not. Amateur doesn't seem to be anymore. And like he said, he's had good experience to lead to that moment. But in the end, we all just need to be here for one another, and whether that be through gaming, streaming, talking to one another, we can definitely all help one another through a depression or through an anxiety up to a certain extent, as long as you yourself is willing to want the help. If you don't, then you're going to go out with this just saying, well, this was junk, this didn't help me at all. And who knows, maybe you can solve it yourself. I did, or I do most of mine, but it's nice to get it out there. And the last thing I want to touch on is just the fact that at the end of the day, and boy, I say the end of the day a lot, but at the end of the day, any outlet, any source that you go to try to help yourself, that's still a form of self-help. And he's right, we're not professionals on this. Granted, we've both been through a lot of stuff, so maybe we at least have nice ways to deal with it here and there, or maybe just hearing about it helps you decide, hey, maybe I should deal with it this way because it's worked for me in the past. Whatever works for you, that's all we want, is for everybody to be a community, be happy, and just by the end of it all, if we can help you, awesome. If we can't, hopefully you can help yourself. But that first step is admitting that you want or need the help.
Yeah, that was great. And I was actually looking at chat, so I wasn't aware we had viewers. So thank you for coming. I mean, it's awesome that you're spending some time here. I know that, I mean, it's our first podcast, so you might be hesitant to chat with us, and that's absolutely fine. The fact that you're joining us is already awesome. And, basically, we're still in the process of organizing our schedule, and our other two members are awesome too, and hopefully you'll get to meet them. And yeah, probably a good place for us to end here. It's kind of a positive note, I feel, because we're basically saying that we're here, so why not just come, comment, join the chat, or even if you want to, you can even DM us or private message. So on my channel, if you look at my channel, you'll see my what do you call it? My banner on the below the screen. If you click that, you'll go to my YouTube channel. If you want to send me a message there, I'm fine, because here I see Nick Gurr saying I need help. I mean, feel free to send a message to me on YouTube, and I'll be happy to share my opinion. Like, this won't be professional advice, but I'm happy to give advice, because for a lot of us, it's a long road where we're trying to walk alone, but it doesn't have to be that way. Sometimes getting a hand here or there, someone who pick us up and tell us you can do it, it's an amazing feeling. So Nick Gurr, if you want to, click on my avatar and just I'm actually not sure if the chat will continue. If it continues, or you can communicate with Aurian, and then we'll try our best, because we're just here trying to see if we could give other people a hand. Even something minor like saying you can do it, just believe in yourself. That could go a long way. I know that during my lowest point, if someone was there saying you can do it, I believe in you, that would have made a huge difference. But unfortunately, at the time, I was alone, and that's basically what I'm facing. But yeah, unfortunately, unfortunately, this podcast is coming to end, but hopefully, we'll have more to come and with our other members. So thank you everyone for coming. It's just amazing having this kind of support, and I really appreciate it. So, Arian, do you want to say goodbye?
Sure, why not? I also want to add that, like you said, it's amazing that everybody shows up. We have some amazing more people to come. And, like, for instance, Nick Gurr, I know you need help. I know I wrote a message back to you in the chat. I don't know if you were even still around, or maybe you're going to message Amateur. But if you want to, too, if you actually want us to answer your question, if you want to follow Amateur. That way you know when his next podcast is for this. Maybe we can sit there and we can actually answer your questions or whatever you need help with. Try to maybe give you ideas, solutions to be able to go through it. And then, other people can learn from this. I mean, we are put under talk show, so we might as well also kind of do many interviews with you guys if you want to, if, we get you to comment back like this. But otherwise, I think this is a good place to stop. And I want to thank you all for joining Amateur and me being more or less a type of co-host for this. I'm really glad that the guys of you that did stop by, the ones of you that did watch, much appreciated. And thank you for thinking that us talking about this was even worth watching. Because, nobody ever thinks that just talking is going to get people to view it. But I guess, hey, we're radio show personalities now, LOL. But, yeah, I'll go ahead and just end with thank you guys. Thank you, Amateur, for helping with the creation of this thing. I think this could really pick up and be a good, helpful thing. You're dealing with stress and anxiety, negativity videos were great, and I think it's time that they evolved. And I think those are a great way to start the evolving process. But for now, everybody, I'll go ahead and say see you guys later. I'll go ahead and hand it back over to Amateur. And the last thing I'll say is for my side of the show, for people who are watching this on my channel when I do post it, feel free to leave comments below. I don't normally say this anymore, but feel free to like, subscribe, share the video if you really enjoyed it. And I'll probably have an opening and a closing before I post mine, just explaining the start of it and maybe a few ways to do it. Down below in the link that I will eventually make, I will have Amateur's channel up in case you want to check him out. All his dealing with anxiety and negativity episodes. They're amazing. The games that he plays amazing. And as a final note, before I say bye, Amateur, you don't give yourself enough credit. I think you are great at what you do for gaming, and you really do play the nice classics. People are always complimenting you. And even though you say you do need improvement, it's not that you need improvement. You need time to hone and perfect your craft. I think you're already good at what you do. But until next time, everybody, this is Aurian MoonRose from Rose Place, signing off.
And thank you for that. Thank you for the kind words. And this is Amateur Gamer, and that's the end of our first podcast. So if you want to be notified, just follow me and click the notification because we don't have a set schedule just yet. Hopefully, we'll get that figured out. So thank you once again for all the support, and please share your comments. We love to chat with other people. So thank you once again, and have a good one. Bye.